gone live, so it should start up any moment now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for calling that out.
Let's see. I'm getting on there too. Let's see. Which one is the one? Oh, there we go. Okay.
It'll take me just a minute to load these up. So for our YouTube viewers, we just started the stream. We are just now starting the slideshow.
Okay.
And let me share my screen as well. There we go. Okay, so I think there was a discussion last month about topaz filters. And I think this photo demonstrates that, but I'll let Bob Bloomberg explain. Bob, are you able to see this photo? Is this appearing for you on your stream or screen?
I'm not seeing anything yet. I just launched my Lume Pad, so I'm not sure how quickly that will get up, and hopefully I've lowered my volume.
So I am seeing it on my Lume Pad, just for confirmation.
Okay. Yeah,
okay, I'm not seeing anything other. Okay, it's just booting up right now. So if you wait one moment,
sure,
it might. Okay, and hopefully I won't accidentally. Okay, what am I doing here? I'm going, first of all, I got to get back to the link. Okay, for Lume Pads. Okay, 1 second. So I just go to the latest. That. Allow. Okay, there we go. Okay, hopefully I won't accidentally. Oops. Okay, what am I?
And yeah, you'll want to mute that thing too.
Okay, I just muted, and I see it, but I'm not seeing it. Let's see, I want to share it. How can I get it? It's side by side squished right now.
Tap in the upper right-hand area of your Lume Pad screen and hit the settings icon, and it'll give you a list of 3D settings. One of them is 3D half width side by side.
I'm into the Lume Pad settings.
No, this would be in the Leia Tube app.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Leia Tube. Okay. Nope.
Bob, we can come back to you. I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anything other than all of the Leia Tube channels and videos available to me.
I'll tell you what, we'll move on, and we can come back to this when you get it working. In the meantime, Melinda, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Melinda, I can hear you clearly.
Audio quality is good?
Audio quality is good, yes.
Okay, good. I'm never sure.
Let me share. Now, Melinda, I don't know how to describe this creative process of yours and what you're going to show us. So I'm going to really just sort of turn it over to you. And I will share the video. Let me just get that set up. And in the meantime, do you want to explain to us what you're going to show us?
Yeah, so this was sparked by our last meeting when we were talking about ways of getting stereo out of AI renders. And although it still seems pretty impossible to for the AIs to understand stereo, they do understand uh, uh, various tracking and grabbing shots in video and can reproduce them. So it provides a kind of a backdoor way to produce stereo from AI images. And so we talked about it a little bit, and I promised to submit an image of mine that I had done this way, and then I sent you a video to share that shows what the frames were taken from, and I have a couple of other pieces that might be useful talking points.
So I'm going to try this. I've just put the video in the chat for those who want to download it and view it on their screens. It's a short video, and Belinda will describe it. I'm also sharing it on my screen on Zoom. I'm not sure if you can see it. Are you able to see it? It's not moving right now. It's paused.
I see it, yes.
Okay, good. And I will play it, and I think it will play with a sufficient frame rate on Zoom. So I'm going to play this. Will you tell us how you created this video, which I understand you used to pull frames from to create a stereo pair?
Yes, it was a multi-step process. It started with this video here was based on a single frame that I used as a starting point. That frame was from an AI video that I created quite a while ago, and so that video is sort of a fly through of this space that was based on the idea of the crawl machine from the old movie Forbidden Planet, and so recently I test drove this Lume text to video tool and fed it one frame from that video to start with. So it decided on its own to move the camera directly upwards, and so and when I saw that, I realized that it could be used to create stereo if the images were simply rotated 90 degrees. So whenever you have a camera that's moving perpendicular to its field of view in any direction, you could turn that into stereo. You're just limited in how the image can be rotated.
Of course. And I think we have a stereo pair that you extracted from this video.
Yes, so I took a couple of pairs and rotated them 90 degrees. That's one of my submissions.
If I can load that up.
And if people are interested, you can also play the full original 90-second video of the original crawl machine video, which, like I say, is a fly through, so it's not suitable for creating stereo, but it might be interesting nonetheless.
While I set up the stereo pair, does anyone have any questions for Melinda? Melinda, maybe you could tell us what tool you used to create this text to video AI.
So this one is Lume. What did I call it? don't even remember what they call it. I think it's called their Dream Machine. And the company was it Luma Pix or something? I forget. Oh, Luma Labs, that's it. Yeah, so lumalabs.ai. You can use it for free. It's relatively low resolution, and you just get like 5 or 10 second videos. But it's pretty neat to fool around with. You tell it what you want and see the results, and then you modify it and repeat until you get something that you like. It's a strange process doing it through text like that. It's very unpredictable, and sometimes you get really interesting stuff. The and the original image for this one was done with a much older text to video system, kind of a big open source project. There are a number of them. This one was called Illustrip, and it's pretty fascinating. There's people create these services on the web that allow you to use GPUs and AI generation software for free, and but that one was really complicated to use. But this new stuff, anybody can use it pretty easily. It's quite fun.
Well, I have loaded a stereo pair that Melinda grabbed from this AI generated video, and the results are definitely effective. I would say eerie.
So yeah, this is the rotated version. And I didn't really have to do much. There were a couple of little small errors in the stereo that I just cloned out.
Did you
But it
instruct it to render the video with like a vertical or a horizontal parallax like that?
no, that was just completely accidental that it did that type of motion at all. I don't know how to control that. I've tried asking for crabbing shots in a variety of different ways, but I haven't been able to reliably get any of these text to videos to do that. There's a bunch of different layers of control. So like the company that provides these tools, you give it your text, but then it sort of decides, it modifies your text, and some of the things it adds are sort of stylistic, which are sometimes good, but not always. So there's a number of levels of indirection between you and the results. So you just have to try, play around, see what you get, and it's kind of fun if you find a trick or a fragment of a prompt that gives a nice effect or is a useful kind of element to add. It's people share these, and it's kind of fun. Become a kind of an AI whisperer or something.
AI whisperer, yes.
It's not a science. I mean, it's a real art, talking to these things and trying to get something beautiful out of it, because you certainly can, but it's not at all straightforward.
Well, and it's such a unique technique also. We have 2D to 3D conversions, of course, but using this technique to generate instead of an image, a video, and then to use the kind of classic technique, I'll call it, of found stereo, as we call it, taking frames out of video with horizontal, or in this case, vertical scrolling, and here you've rotated it, of course. It's a totally unique and original idea, very creative and very experimental too.
And it's probably not practical for anything. It's just interesting. That's all.
It's the kind of technique that only we would come up with.
Yeah.
Everyone else is going the easy route of buying credits on LeiaPix, or what is it now, Immersify. But you're doing it the hard way. You're doing it this is a very inventive way of getting an AI generated stereo pair.
Well, I didn't set out to do that at all. I mean, this was just an accident.
Happy accident.
If you're doing it intentionally for stereo, I mean, yeah, it'd be nice if somebody could find some ways to really control the cameras. Maybe that will come. But until then, these stereo conversions are spectacular. So that's definitely the way to go.
Is anyone else doing AI generated video? Anything creative with these tools?
I've used I've used the conversion, the LeiaPix, whatever it's called now, Immersity. I've taken some of my 2D videos and had them convert it to 3D on the fly, and they've done an amazing job.
Okay.
And in fact, they produced some little surprises that weren't there originally, such as 2D graffiti on walls becomes 3D.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and murals, things like that. But for the most part, it grabs, about 85%. And converts very convincingly. I can send a link if anyone's interested to see one that I did on Cuba that came out pretty well. I'm amazed that they can process it so quickly in real time.
So what's even more amazing is the real-time 3D conversion that's done on the Lume Pad in LeiaTube when you select the YouTube 2D video and have it convert to 3D in real time. And,
actually, thanks for reminding me. I think that's what I did with this. I did it all on the Lume Pad, just had it convert it. And it did a great job. It was fantastic.
Yeah, but one of the problems is if you convert it like that, I don't know that you can actually save the 3D result. You can play it and view it, but not save it and share it.
Yeah, that's something I'd like to know about as well.
Yeah, but as an example, I basically found the Steve Miller band Abracadabra and played that on LeiaTube and did a real-time conversion, and that's a very interesting conversion if anyone's familiar with that video. And if you have a Lume Pad, I recommend that you look at that video and do the real-time 3D conversion for a very interesting video.
Cool.
Yeah, good tip. Yeah, these Lume Pads are a lot of fun for that kind of thing. Well, thank you very much, Melinda. And by the way, this photo is in our regular slideshow tonight also. So you will have a chance to vote for it as a part of our poll that we'll have after the meeting. No, I'm sorry, after the slideshow, before the end of the meeting. So you'll be seeing this again. Bob, before we go to the open slideshow, are you squared away? Would you like to discuss this photo, or do you want to save it for another time?
Sure, if you want. I've got it up now. I mean, I've got Melinda's image up on my Lume Pad here.
This will just take a second for me to...
Yeah, I don't think the last version I did, I'm not thrilled with the results, but I'm happy to discuss it.
And remind me again, does anyone remember exactly what the conversation was last month about Topaz? I know it came up kind of late in the meeting.
Well, I was mentioning the two filters I use a lot. The Photo AI is pretty incredible. And that kind of combines a lot of their filters into one and allows you to not only enhance your photos and sharpen them, but it also enlarges. Along with Gigapix is another one of their filters I use, or the apps I use a lot. And that you can enlarge amazingly, six times and beyond. And often it looks as good or better than the original.
And
I don't recall what I used. I may have used some Photo AI on this image, but it's still a work in progress. That whole window in the background that's white back there with the branches and stuff. I'm still doing a lot of cloning and cutting and pasting, and not totally thrilled with the 3D, but it's an interesting. I love the car.
I think if you just paint out all those branches, I think that the bright,
I think I did on the later
gives a good contrast.
Here.
Okay.
Yeah, I think actually on the later version,
I
even toned down the white and gave it a solid darker tone back there. But I love the car, and it's all made out of things found in his grandmother's house. She was a horsewoman, and there's two table lamps in the back for the rear headlights that have horse motifs on it, and I love the toaster. There's kind of a spoiler on the hood there.
Yeah,
but he does some wonderful cars. They're just amazing.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Bob.
Sure.
All right. I'm gonna.
That's not one of our images this month.
It's not.
I don't know.
One
I thought I'd sent in quite a few before that were kind of coming through the window, and I turned in some humorous images that I don't think made the cut last time. But there was one I thought was funny that people might enjoy, of the recycle bins that I spotted on a walk.
So let me start up tonight's open. We have 19 photos tonight. It's a good number. We don't have as many contributors as we do most months, so I've done something different. Instead of randomizing the photos in the slideshow, I've kept them grouped by maker, something we do occasionally. So when your turn is up, you'll have 4 photos to share with us. And I'm going to start with one by Jay, and I can get the title for you here. It has something to do with cherries, as I recall. Cherries.
I think it was just cherries.
Title.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, went cherry picking like 2 months ago, about an hour away from Berkeley, and just used my cell phone to do cha-chas. Yeah, those are just around 2 p.m.-ish. Nice day.
A great image quality.
Yeah. So, yeah, not much else. It's came back with like 2 pounds of cherries.
Did you boost the color on those at all?
Straight out of the phone.
Really amazing.
Yeah, Motorola stylus. I think.
Remind me of candy apples from the fair.
Yeah, and good cherries. You could go to the next one.
Sure.
What phone did you use for that?
Motorola Stylus,
Oh, sorry.
2022 version. And it's got a wide angle in addition to the normal lens, but I just use the normal. Oh, also has a macro.
I think the overcast sky really aided you here. You've got nice even light.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, and having the trees just really nice depth without going to infinity.
Yeah, it looks great on my Lume Pad. The cherries are black on my anaglyph, but hey, that's anaglyph for you. Jay, are you ready for your next one?
Yeah.
The title of this is Church.
And this was around like 34th Street by Madison Square Garden. Just really interested in the design. So it's, kind of hyper. And same phone.
Oh, what's it got to do with capuchins?
I have no idea.
That's just so bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah, just like the architecture and that sculpture.
Yeah, it's an incredible work of art.
Yeah.
And going hyper, you got some nice 3D texture. And I like the nice even light too. This was a Cha-Cha, you said?
Yep. Yeah, with the same cell phone.
Same phone. Very nice. And we have one more from you, and I'm very curious about how you made this. This is NYC Skyline. A very wide stereo.
Yeah. Bus going to Rockland County. So this is on the Jersey side when you just leave the tunnel. And just phone out the window. Used Photoshop to eliminate, like there was a helicopter that, because of the Cha-Cha, it was just way out. And cleaned up some reflections on the sky, which used Adobe Generative Fill. So I should probably redo it because it doesn't quite match. I boosted the contrast a bit with curves, and I think that made the floors in the sky, get accentuated. But it's probably like a 10-15 second difference as the bus was moving.
So these are just two regular snaps, not like panoramas or anything like that?
Nope.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's across the river, so you get the wide view. I actually cropped it a bit. And kind of curious to do in Google Earth and see if it looks any different.
Yeah, see if you can match it up.
Yeah.
I did that experiment with one of my aerial photos of Salesforce Tower, and it was remarkably similar. The light was different, of course, and I had to sort of play with the virtual camera in Google Earth, but I think you'd be pretty amazed at how accurate Google Earth can be with that kind of thing. Jay, I'm very curious how you used generative fill for this photo. Did you use it twice for each?
Yeah,
view?
there's different reflections on each side. So I just circled the area and said remove reflection or remove object.
Reflections
So-
from the window, from the car?
Yeah, the window.
I got it.
Beautiful image, Jay. Really
Thanks. Yeah.
wonderful skyline. That sky in the middle is the only thing you'd have to touch up for the anomaly. Everything else looks really good.
Yeah, I chopped off a lot from the bottom, other cars and things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly not missing anything. Well, what a wonderful cityscape. Thank you, Jay. All right. Thank you, Jay, for those. Melinda, we have 4 from you up next, including Krell Luma. But first, let us enjoy Bridge Palace alignment.
Yeah, so this, I have previously submitted an image that was taken with this, pretty much the same view. It was only recently that I saw it again from my roof during a sunset at this time of year when the sun will go behind the bridge dramatically. So it pulled both of these elements together, and it was still pretty challenging. It's the long lens image separation is about 5 feet, and I was really and I had it on a tripod, and I moved the tripod as fast as I could, but even still, the sun would move noticeably during that time, which made it challenging. And it's a little different from the other bridge photo, not including the palace, but the one I've submitted before from down on Chrissy Field, because I'm so much further from the bridge at this point, and so the result is that the disk of the sun is so much larger in proportion to the bridge than when I was closer to the bridge. So that's why the sun is completely wrapping around half of that pillar. It's really the disk is really that large. And what else? So yeah, I liked the tonal quality. Just a lot of tones. Original images is very golden, but I turned it to grayscale just because I wanted to focus on the gradations and the image quality. The resolution was also pretty high, so that turned out pretty well. And it's kind of fun that you can see the figures of the women down in the lower left. That's one of the towers on the sort of, I don't know what they call those tall walls at the Palace of Fine Arts. But on top of each of the big towers, there's like there's a statue of 4 women that are all just facing each other like they're gossiping or something. It's very weird, but it's also kind of neat. And I did a little research to see what the story was about those women, and there's not a good record of what exactly it meant, but there was some people at the time believed that the design was meant to show the women grieving for the degradation of, or the loss of fine arts in the culture or in the world. So I guess fine arts was a big deal for as a concept for a while or at the time, and I guess some people were thinking that it was dying or something. Clearly didn't die, but definitely changed. And my personal feeling is that it was more almost a joke than anything to have the women facing each other instead of the standard way of having all the statues facing outward in some magnificent way. Um, I I like the idea of statues being casual.
Well, this is the Palace of Fine Arts, right? So
That's right. Yeah,
could
it was all
be,
about fine arts,
yeah,
and
they
at
could be on their
least that
mind.
was the discussion at the time. And the idea that they were worried that the arts were dying was a surprise to me.
Well, then again, look how hard it is to get people to show up to our meetings. So it's always it's still a
You make a good
struggle,
point.
I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
I wouldn't call what we are doing fine art, but
Oh, sure it is.
it's
Sure it is. It's
definitely
just
in the
different.
artistic realm.
I mean, we do all kinds of imagery,
We do.
but lots of it is meant to be um, very traditionally artistic.
Yeah, that's true. We do show a lot of landscapes,
Mhm.
occasional still
Portraits.
life, a lot
Yeah.
of portraits. Indeed, you're absolutely right. I stand corrected. I've zoomed in a bit on the silhouettes of the sculptures, and let's enjoy the full photo again before we move on. This is remarkable. You've got that shadow, of course, that you discussed in the last photo. How long is your window of time to capture this before the sun is completely out of frame or is moved beyond the point where it's casting shadows from the tower?
Yeah, it's very brief. It's probably about 1 minute.
So you must have been very strategic with this. Did you plan this ahead? Did you scope this out before setting up a day before?
Yeah, actually, what happened was I was shooting something else the day before in a different direction, and and just as the sun was setting and as I was giving up on that, I walked over to this corner of the building and took a peek and saw this, and I think I tried to take a couple of pictures, but I was too slow, and so I returned the next day and took a lot more pictures, and it was still difficult to get a good stereo pair where both images are in focus and everything. But I did manage to get it, and it's only visible from that particular corner of the building. Now, when I shoot from down at Crissy Field on the beach, I have a lot more time because I can just walk down the beach a little bit and sort of keep the sun aligned where I want it.
Sure.
So I probably have, up to, I don't know, maybe even close to 10 minutes or something of time to, try a number of different ways as I'm kind of following the sun. But here I only have the one corner of the building, so I had to get it during that brief window.
Well, I think you nailed it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I should send you the high resolution version too, if you maybe another time if you want to show that or something. It's nice to
You can zoom
zoom in and
kind of
with the
explore it.
stereo photo maker. It's it's surprisingly good quality down to a pretty high resolution.
Submit it for next week, and if we have time, we'll get to it. Otherwise, we'll do it the following month. But yeah, I'd love to spend some time with that.
Sure.
Beautiful. Thank you, Melinda.
Thank you.
Next is Krell Luma, which we've already discussed. Did you have anything else you wanted to share about it before we move on to your next one?
No, not really.
All right. The title of the next one is Pure Joy.
Yeah, so this was some friends of mine in Sacramento that a very old friends of mine, and they were getting married, and made a destination wedding, which was San Francisco, in large part because I was here and my cat was dying and I couldn't really travel anywhere for days at a time. So they were kind enough to do it here. They like the city too, and we all had a good time. But it was a several day event, and this was the main event, when taken just I don't know, no more than 1 minute after they're officially married, and it was sort of sinking in that they were actually married. They kind of couldn't believe it. It was delightful.
It is delightful.
And this is pretty much full frame, straight out of the camera. A little bit of normal Photoshop work, but
Hydrogen 1, I presume?
yes, definitely.
Well, this is the kind of photos that camera was made for.
Yeah, and even still, it could use a bit more depth, but it's definitely within the range it's intended for sure.
It definitely helps having those trees in the sort of middle ground. The depth is not great, but it's there. It works, and it's a
Yeah,
proper stereo composition in that regard.
yeah, that definitely helped. It's a little hot in the background, but yeah, it's fun. I'm happy with that.
It is very joyful. And finally, from Melinda, we have, there it is, red light at night.
Yeah, so this was right around the corner from the VRBO that they had rented, and so every night when it's generally where I would park my car, and my eye kept being caught by this beautiful long shot up this waving street, and the street lights in the middle, reflecting off of all the cars, was really kind of captivating to me. So I decided I was going to try to photograph it, even though night shots are difficult, at least for me with the equipment I have and my knowledge of how to use it. These were handheld, but I used the Canon's handheld night mode, which takes a burst of images and just kind of averages them together. And it did an okay job. It's not great image quality or anything, but it kind of got the job done. And I did have to do a fair amount of Photoshop work to I had to clone out a couple of cars. In each of the pictures, there was at least one car that was moving in the street, so I had to get rid of that. There was even a car that's parked on the right of one image, but not in the other. So I cloned the car over, and then just lots of little speckles in the trees and things that were distracting. And I had to sort of almost construct the very furthest point of the road that you see at the top. Um, but it came out okay. I like. Oh, and the stereo is a little bit extreme, at least for this group. I know. Um, I was just guessing, and the separation was close to 2 feet. It should have been closer to 1 foot. But I think it's okay. At least it works for me. Apologies for anybody on a TV or something.
Oleg, how does
Might
this
be
look
too
on your
much.
TV? It looks okay on my Lume Pad.
Well, my TV wasn't working, so I'm looking at it as a side by side.
Ah, okay. Yeah, it probably won't work on your TV.
I think we've seen more extreme hypers than this. It's
The
comfortable.
hyperness doesn't bother me. I like it. And I love the lighting. I'm getting some ghosting, however, on the Lume Pad of that one car on the left, the top of the hill. But
The
you're
white
saying,
car?
yeah, it's next to the small red light.
Okay. It's just bright white, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it may just be mine. It's trying to track my face, but I'm getting extreme ghosting there. But
Yeah, the Lume Pad doesn't do great with high contrast photos like
Yeah.
this. I see that.
but I
same
love the
ghosting on mine.
wavy street is wonderful, and the reflections on the sides of the cars, just gorgeous.
And I'm getting
Okay.
the exact
Very,
same
very film
ghosting
noir.
on my Lume Pad. Just
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's not the eye tracking; it's just the way the Lume Pad processes it.
You just need Philip Marlowe narrating this one. Just nice little film noir scene. I like it.
Maybe I should try it in black and white then.
Oh, I like the color though. The red is in a nice.
Actually, I took a number of shots for each eye, making sure to get each of the different colors, not to make like a red image and a green image or whatever, but I wanted to try using like a red in one and a green in the other. But that didn't really work, and I bet you can't guess why.
Why?
The different colors on the streetlight are at different elevations, right?
Oh, of course.
So for every red reflection, you get a green reflection, but they don't line up. And I couldn't think of any way to fix that. So it's I'm still working on the concept. I think it could be interesting to use the different light colors in as lighting sources. So like how the red light sort of lights up the tree behind it. But if the lights themselves are directly visible, I think it just doesn't work.
So if you were to use them as sort of like primary illumination and have them behind you, first have the red
Right.
light cast on your subject, and then the green light. So that might be your left eye, and then the green light, that could be your right eye. Is that what you're describing?
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Very creative.
I had originally tried that with where I'd seen that happening on some illumination on some trees at night in my neighborhood. It looked pretty interesting. I think it's got some promise, but it does not work in this situation.
Now, you used your Canon DSLR for this,
Yes.
and I think the last one to the bridge and the Palace of Fine Arts too. That's the camera you used.
Yes,
Got it.
the bridge was zoomed all the way in. This one is just most of the way.
Yeah. Don't you find that DSLR just a lot of fun to use? Isn't it just a great camera to operate?
I don't feel I know how to use it. I mean, I get better with practice, of course, but I still don't. Still don't feel like I'm really in control.
Well, you're getting something out of it.
I'm getting there. Well, the long lenses, especially, I couldn't get anything from this lens for a long time. And part of it is that autofocus won't work at all. So I lose a lot of great shots that drift out of focus.
Oh, we've all been there. We should have a special blurry shots, lost masterpieces.
Oh, I like that.
Before I move on, and Oleg, you're coming up next, I just have one observation, Melinda. I'm going to go back to Pure Joy. Great photo. My comment is, I think this is the first one of yours I've seen in a while that doesn't have a frame around it. Does it have a frame?
I mean, the
Am I
image.
missing it?
No. It's very bright. I usually only add frames to images that have any substantial areas of black around the borders, and for the through the window special, I'll use borders just to make it clear where the window is. But most images don't seem to need borders if they're not one of those special cases.
Understood. Okay. Thanks for clarifying. That's not the only thing I appreciated about this photo, of course, but I guess I just felt compelled to mention that.
Well, maybe it could use a border.
I don't think it needs it myself. Does anyone else disagree?
I mean, the border is kind of busy. It might help to contain it.
Don't listen to me. It's fine.
I
as is.
sometimes find the borders distracting. I mean, I definitely appreciate the Pure Joy one without the border, but one like this night scene, which is a really great picture. I mean, it has a lot of contrast, but the white border really jumps out at me, and I'm trying to imagine what it would look like without. I mean, there's plenty of bright highlights, so it's not terribly distracting, but I have tried borders a little bit, but in general, I don't really like them. I can't really articulate why, but I would say put them on when you think they need it, but most of the time I don't know that they need it.
That's pretty much how I feel.
All right. Well, thank you, Melinda, for your time in the hot seat. Definitely.
Thank you.
Definitely asked and gotten a lot out of you tonight. Really creative examples tonight. Thank you. Oleg, we have a batch from you up next, starting with Car in Garage Split by Shadows.
Yeah, I discovered I discovered these garages are good because even though they're maybe private property, nobody ever kicks me out of them. Usually, if I'm in the mall or something like that, the security people come over and say, "Can't use professional camera here." They allow phones, but not real cameras. Anyway, this is the um, yeah, parking garage at gee, my brain doesn't work. Of the Kaiser Hospital in Marin County.
I love the symmetry. The shape of the space is such a
Yeah.
nice box.
I like it that the shadows aren't real. They're not actually objects, but they supersede the car, which is an actual object.
Are you ever
Did
mistaken?
you-
Oleg,
Oh, go ahead.
Oleg, did you just find this car parked like this perfectly divided by the shadow? Or is that your car and you put it there because it's the perfect place?
No, it was there like that. You have to
No other
position.
cars, and no other cars around.
Yeah, it was the top floor, so most of the people were. The reason I get these shadows is it is the top floor. If you get downstairs, it's not so pretty.
Oh, I know, it's amazing.
Yeah, you have to be very accurate. Even if you go over an inch one way or the other, the symmetry gets lost.
Yes, very nicely composed. Thank you, Oleg. Next, let us look at rear entrance to fruit processing plant.
Yeah, this was originally intended for next week's in through the window picture, but I had overflow, so it's ended up in regular. I like the picture had too much depth when I saw it on the TV screen, so I brought the rectangular objects there forward, put the window at the fence line, and use the border to place the window. The fence is a little bit behind the border. I like the way it can peek on the right third. You can peek deep into the picture between the tree and the edge of the fence.
Oleg, would you say this photo would be too hyper without the frame?
Yeah, it was.
But this frame, I guess, well, it certainly eliminates a lot of the portion that is coming through the window, except the portion that you want to keep, of course.
I like the text gives a reason for the frame.
Yeah, it doubles down on the key. It was way too. The background was way too far back. Actually, out my window, my actual window in my living room. So bringing it forward made it a possible picture.
And then you've got your in-picture frames happening also, right? With those cypress trees, with that fence gate. I see a lot of
those are all about just a little behind the window in this version. Before they were almost a background.
Yeah, very effective. Thank you, Oleg. Next from Oleg is Smoky Morning at Silver Lake.
Yeah, this is another one I was intending for the through the window for special, but it's the same deal where I put the lettering at the window and allowed the program to jet out of my TV. I don't know if you can see that effect if you look at a smaller picture on a phone, say, but it's supposed to come at you.
I can see it pretty effectively on my screens.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it on my computer monitor, and it's a pretty dramatic effect. I was just fantasizing what it would look like if the part that jutted out actually cast a soft shadow.
Mm.
I don't know if you've ever considered doing that to accentuate the part that jumps out from the picture plane.
Yeah, that's an idea. No, I didn't think of it.
This is a great picture. It's a really evocative picture that, forgive me for saying so, I think the dramatic effect of jutting out is hurting the serenity of this picture. I think it's a great picture just without doing any tricks to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that's the way I started out. But it did get it on my TV here, the big TV, the background is too far back.
Another fun thing one could do with the foreground would be like take an extra picture using a polarizing filter, so that in the lower right where the stones and things underwater are sort of fading into the white mist, you could reveal them under the water itself. I don't know how to explain it. So like the corner is cut off, and you could make it so that cut only really cuts away the water, but leaves the rocks underneath visible below the bottom of the image. Does that make sense?
I don't know.
Having trouble imagining that.
It could be like two layers essentially. So you've got the layer that we're looking at here, and then the layer of the floor of the lake without the water. And you could have them both in their correct locations, and then with a clever border, you could sort of remove part of the top layer so that you could look directly through to the bottom layer. Sort of like Gray's Anatomy pictures, No, never mind. It's just a concept that I think could work.
You definitely have a concept. I think you're just going to have to steal it and use it for yourself. But your concept would involve taking additional photos with a polarized lens to reveal more detail under the water. Is that what you're saying? Or
Right.
are you going for that effect?
Well, I could easily do that by brightening it, reduce the contrast and brighten it, and then what's under the water will be easier to see.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that would work out as well. I mean, my suspicion is that for this picture, a polarizing photo will make it look like the water is almost gone.
I like the reflection.
Welcome, Tor.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm late.
So glad you could make it. Yeah, thank you, Oleg. Oleg, was this a recent photo? Is that smoke from our ongoing wildfires?
Not this year's, the year before,
Okay.
and this is in this year's.
And we have one more from Oleg tonight. Study in Blue at Defunct Movie Palace.
Yeah, this is playing with the four dimensions idea. So blue is taking a central view at the picture. Blue sky and the blue ground.
Yeah, it really needs those handicap parking signs, those vertical poles. They really make this one for me.
I usually adjust the tint so the primary colors have the same effect.
So you got matching blues and
Blue sky, yeah.
tans, greens. Yeah, thank you, Oleg. Do you recall the name of this this former movie theater?
It's in northern Marin County. No, I wouldn't be able to dig that out. No,
Sadly,
might be
it's
in the title.
It's the cinema up beyond Northgate.
Yeah, quite a bit north of Northgate. It's called Smith Ranch Road.
Yeah, exactly. I had no idea they'd closed. So sad.
Yeah.
indeed. Well, thank you, Oleg, for standing under that spotlight for your 4 entries in tonight's exhibition. And up next is Steve. We have 4 from Steve. And Steve, when you're ready, tell us about Barcelona Church.
Well, yeah, those previous pictures were some hard acts to follow. I just dipped into the archives here. This is a picture from, I think it's from up in the hill where, you know, a Gaudi complex where a bunch of Gaudi's architecture is. And I'm looking at a non-Gaudi, because there's other people making buildings in Barcelona. And I just thought, you know, the plants, the vegetation in the foreground, and the mountains in the background, and the church in the middle ground had some depth. So I don't know as much else to say about that.
Are you from a balcony or a hillside here?
Having trouble hearing.
Are you shooting from a balcony or a hillside here? What's the vantage?
Yes, there's this complex. I can't quite remember the name of it, but there's a lot of it's a whole sort of a housing complex that Gaudi designed. We took a tour of the whole thing, and there's a lot of there's like these high walls that you can walk along. That's kind of a wavy wall. I have other 3D pictures of that that I've shown in the past. And so I think that I'm up there shooting from a hill and then on a wall is what I think this is. I mean, it's from many years ago. It's from about 5 years ago. So my memory's a little foggy.
A really nice framing of the steeple with the foliage. I wish I could see a little bit more blue sky at the top of the image instead of having it cut off.
Yeah, I could easily have added that. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's a running horse, but I wasn't sure if it's all there. But yeah, I could have added blue sky. I also wish there were some clouds there, but and there's some depth in this. But yeah, that's not a bad idea. I could easily have added a stripe of that light blue color.
You could also just paint out that bit on top too. It doesn't really lend a whole lot. Just give it a
I
little
have been
breathing
known to
space.
do that. Yeah.
I'm sure there must be reference of what that weather vane looks like. It'd be easy to finish it up and just add enough blue to include it.
There might even be a 3D version on Google Earth, although it's not as much. It's a lot in America. It's not as much in other countries.
So Steve, I'm zooming in quite a bit. I don't know if you realize, but I think you captured evidence of a UFO. It looks like it must be a flying saucer there in the distance.
Yes, and they're very common in Barcelona. We don't talk about it much, but
I don't think there's any science that can disprove it. So there you go.
it look a bit like an airplane, so that may put the kibosh on your theory.
That's the conventional answer.
Well, don't the Mormons say that, Xenu used like a 737 type spaceship? Isn't that part of the, or is that Scientology?
That sounds like Scientology to me.
Yeah, it's Scientology. Yeah.
A 737, huh?
Yeah, they're like suspicious of like 737s.
Okay. Well, we all should be suspicious of 737s.
Yeah.
If you can avoid flying in one. All right. Thank you, Steve, for letting me have some fun with this.
One thing, I wanted to, there's a spot or a leaf at the lower center that keeps popping from the background to the tree, to the bush. I'd just get rid of that little white thing. Bothers me.
You referring to?
No, go down.
Down more?
Down more toward the center. There. That one. It's a leaf, but virtually all other leaves are black, and this one's white. And when you look at the picture, it's a little confusing to the eye. It wants to be in the background, but then it pops into the foreground where it is.
Right, because of the part of the building behind it you keep trying to look at.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. Is the one that's more or less in the center of the frame right now? it looks like a leaf that's like the edge is folded over and
Yeah,
catching the
yeah.
sunlight.
No,
I think that's
I didn't understand that. It's just a leaf on that bush that's in the foreground. But when you look at the picture overall, it pops into the background.
Does your cursor work? Because I'm not sure if I'm
I think he's saying
looking at-
yes. I think the answer is yes. That's the leaf he's talking about.
Oh, okay. I guess I don't see it, but yeah, if it's distracting, I should look into it.
Well, when you look at the building behind it, it catches your eye, and you have to pull your focus all the way back to make out what it is. So it's definitely distracting.
I've added some tools on my Stream Deck here. Stereo Photomaker tools, auto align, turn the grid on and off, crop. I'll see if I can add a tool that'll allow me to circle or highlight specific things in an image so that we're all able to see the same thing. I'm sure there's a built-in tool. I just need to add it to my my command deck here. So I'll look into that. That would be helpful.
You could use the crop tool just for the crosshairs that it puts on the screen, so you don't have to actually
there it is.
perform a crop or anything.
So something like.
You got close to it.
So can you see now? For those who are, actually, I can do this on the YouTube stream.
Yeah, well, that's the one I thought he was talking about.
Yeah, that works.
All right, there you go.
Okay, now I got to play with this, so everyone gets to watch me. Okay, so that kind of works. Thank you, Melinda. I'm gonna look for a way to make that stick.
Okay,
but...
I can see what you're saying. It looks like it could be part of the building, so it could be distracting. For me, I mean, I can see that it's part of that branch. So it doesn't bother me, but I mean, it certainly wouldn't hurt to take it out. It's not like I'm in love with that particular leaf.
All you'd need to do would be the color of the white part the same green as the rest of the bush.
That would be a one trick to do, yeah. Or I could just color the whole thing, the color of the building, the orange.
I'd look for coloring them as part of the building.
Yeah, and even Photoshop's what is it, that erase tool, the Band-Aid tool?
Same thing. Same thing.
The healing brush.
Healing brush, thank you. That's useful for when the things are small enough. It's usually plenty good enough, and even if they're a little bit larger like this, it's often better than leaving it alone. So anything that I find distracting like that, I usually just immediately remove.
All right.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you everyone for letting me play with Stereo Photomaker here. Steve, we're not done with you yet. We're actually just getting started. Our next photo by you is Cairo Carpet Factory.
Yeah, so moving to another part of the world, Egypt. I've got some 3D videos from here, and also some other pictures, and just found this pretty colorful and obvious. There's some depth, and there's just a hint of sadness in the story, which is these basically kids forced to work in this factory, although they were always smiling.
Colors are amazing.
Yeah, it's very, maybe that's just for the tourists.
Yeah, it's really a great subject. Very inventive.
I do wish that one lighter strand wasn't directly in front of Bikini or in the red shirt.
Yeah, it's like all the other people are pretty well
Pretty
distinguished.
unobstructed.
Yeah. It's hard to get everything right, but
Is
that
it
would be
that
nice.
there's too much contrast between the red and the.
But just that in one eye, the yarn is completely in front of the kid in the red shirt, and the other eye, he's relatively unobstructed.
It's sort of like Oleg's image with,
Oh, I
visually
see.
things are stacked up. Yeah.
Yeah, there's, other than removing the kid completely, I don't know, there's a lot I can do.
Yeah.
Removing the kid completely might not be that hard.
Or
That
just
would be easier
desaturating the red.
than moving the strand over. That would be more of a challenge.
That sounds more
Yeah.
challenging, but just removing the kid might work because you're really just trying to get rid of all that red.
Desaturating the red shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's the fact that the red is so dynamic, then yeah, desaturating the shirt would be the easiest solution.
But his head is clearly
the
visible.
texture of the yarn.
It's a good shot. I think it's worth a little work.
All right.
Steve, this has got to be a
Thanks.
W3 shot, right?
Yeah,
I can tell
definitely
just looking at it. Very nice. Yeah, thank you, Steve. We've got another one by Steve coming up next. Hat juggling.
So I've got two. This one and the one after this will be not great pictures, but it's a way of promoting a show in San Francisco called Dear San Francisco. It's Club Fugazi, where the Beach Blanket Babylon used to be. And it's basically a circus show, very intimate circus show, very small theater. I was sitting in the front row. This was went with my son. It's kind of a birthday present to him, and it's just a fantastic show. Now it's dark and they're moving fast, so there's motion blur, and I put it through a topaz to sharpen it, which is still not sharp enough, and it did a weird thing. It sharpened the left and right images differently. And then I had to do a lot of work to get them closer together. So the topaz sharpening, at least in some circumstances, is not the ideal solution for 3D. Sometimes I've done it before, it's worked better, but I think just because there was so much motion blur.
How do you process these photos in Topaz? Do you give it a stereo pair or do you give it individual left-right photos?
It's just as you see it here. I give the side by side.
Okay.
And processes them together, which I thought would give it a better chance of doing the same thing. But they came out different, much more than others that I've done. But yeah, Topaz uses some sort of AI to put details that are not in the picture.
Right. Well, for me, seeing this in 3D,
I'm sorry?
What's that? Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an opportunity to alert people of this show. It's really great. And they let you, I mean, all the seats are the same price. So you can sit right in the front, which I do recommend. Although they come into the audience, they do a great Diablo routine where they throw it from the stage to the back of the theater and catch. Feeling what the Diablo is. It's you have a stick with a string on it, and then kind of a yo-yo, a oversized yo-yo that you catch in the string, and it's pretty amazing what they can do.
If you have it handy, Steve, put a link in the chat to the show.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I can Google it.
And I was just going to add, with the kind of resolution enhancing effect that looking at a stereo pair gives you, to me, it's still soft in stereo, but it's got enough detail, especially in the face of the hat juggler standing on the shoulders of the man below. For me, I can see enough of the eyes and the smile, the expression, that I'd call this a success.
Well, thanks.
And we've got one more from Steve. I think this is from the same show. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, there's the link.
Yeah, the link to the show is in the chat. clubfugazisf.com. And this photo, which I presume is from the same show, is called Parasol Spinning.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen these kind of acts. It's pretty amazing what these people can do. And the show is quite diverse. There's poetry in there. A lot of these performers are also musicians and play. And the people who come to the show write on cards what they like about San Francisco, and they pick their favorite ones, and they read them aloud. It's quite a wonderful show. They talk about, there's one routine that's a detective story, and they talk about the beat poets who wrote in San Francisco. So really, it's a great place to bring your tourist friends, people visiting. I don't have much to say about this one. I think this is better depth than the hat one, and I did not have to process this one. This didn't go through Topaz.
I would paint out that exit sign. It's two
It
exit
crossed
signs.
my mind, but it did allow some depth. Maybe I can make it darker. Well, maybe it's better without the exit sign. Yeah.
You have nice light falling on the performer and through the parasols. It's nice. All right. Thank you, Steve.
If I could have used my phone, I would have gotten a better image because it works better in low light. But you can't get a 3D picture that way.
Right.
I considered trying to use AI to take one of my phone pictures, but I just didn't have the time to learn how to do that. Maybe sometime in the future.
Yeah, this is a Fuji W3.
Yeah, all of these are W3s.
Yeah.
All four of them are W3s.
It's, not a camera that's known for great low light performance, but this is totally decent. Was this handheld? Were you resting the camera on a chair or anything?
Just handheld.
Wow. Okay.
And what phone do you have, Steve?
I have a Galaxy 23.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because the iPhone has a portrait mode, which will include a depth map through their LiDAR technology, which you can end up getting a 3D image by just taking a portrait.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, it's really amazing.
Oh, good to know.
Have you submitted any pictures using that?
Not here. I'll dig through my collection and see if I can find something.
Well, let's hope they develop an app like that for the Samsung.
The Samsung might
I mean, they
have
have
LiDAR, might
multiple
be able to
lenses.
generate a depth map.
Mine has, three lenses similar to the.
So it should be able to do it. If there's a function there that utilizes the two lenses, because I know with the portrait mode, you can also change the focus after the fact. So I can go in and select which area of the photo I want to be in focus.
Yeah, that I don't know. There's features in there that I haven't used. I should look into it.
There may be some stuff online on the 3DCon website. I just returned from the conference, and they had several workshops, and one workshop was on that very thing, different apps and ways of using mostly iPhone, but also Android phones for capturing 3D in various ways.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you'll have to give a report. Was that in Kansas City?
That was in Wichita.
Okay.
Yeah, it was over 10% of the attendees got COVID.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
Oh,
awful.
Yep.
Yeah.
so
I mean, there was, I think I'm number 18,
Oh, yeah.
according to my sources.
We
what a
Oh.
disaster.
sorry.
Yeah. Including a keynote speaker and several friends who I hung out with, which
wow.
may or may not have been the cause.
Yeah, there is a
Well,
summer
Super
surge.
spreader event.
I'm glad I didn't go. I wasn't really planning on going, but I was thought about it because my brother lives in Kansas.
Yeah, it was very worth going. I mean, it was nice to see friends and some great workshops. And but again, I'm not sure. It could have been from people traveling in airports that brought it.
Well, you're a superstar there, so of course you were going to go.
Oh yeah, right, yeah. Well, I have to have an autograph signing session, and keep the paparazzi at bay, and just
Right. Everybody's there
it's a full-time
just to meet you.
yeah, right.
Well, thank you, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
We've got just a few more.
But there may,
These are all by.
I'm just going to add that there may be some. I'm sure there are some materials online from the workshops that you may be able to access, and I think it could be helpful. I'll look through my stuff as well.
Yeah, that would be great.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, I've just myself only recently started exploring depth maps. It's very
That would be
very interesting.
yeah. I'd
tool.
love a workshop if you
Yeah.
wanted to do one.
All right, we just have a few more, and these are all by me. The first by me is Exploring Skull Cave. I've shown quite a few cave photos these past few months, and I promise you this is the last one. This is from a caving trip that I took at Lava Beds National Monument a couple months ago, and I like this one for a couple reasons. One, I want to emphasize that these caves have a lot of natural light. They have skylights. They have wide openings. This is fairly deep in the cave, but there's enough light, and my cameras, I shot this with my twin Sonys, are on a tripod, to capture this with great exposure, I think. These two people, I don't know who these people are, had sort of momentarily paused, so there's no blurring in their motion. And I think it's got good depth. The only other thing that I'll emphasize is just how improperly people dress for caves. I've mentioned this many times. I was there with a helmet, knee pads, and boots, and the whole works, and they weren't. I was setting up to shoot a tube behind them that was blasting, freezing cold air. I mean, like a freezer, but they didn't care. Yes, so thank you. And this next one I'm kind of on the fence about, but it's a composition technique that I want to explore. This is sort of along the lines of what Oleg is able to accomplish. And what I'm sort of going after here is setting up different frames, different quadrants of the photo, each with different composition telling a different story. I think this one would be better if the light were reversed, if it were darker day and there were lights in these stalls. But hey, I'm just starting with this technique.
Why didn't you center the bridge between the two?
Well, this was, I wanted to get it head on. And this was really the only angle, the only position where I wouldn't be shooting them with a noticeable angle. I wanted that sign to be, well, as centered as possible. I probably could crop this a little bit to center it even more. So I was sort of going for the sign rather than the bridge. And this one really is a little too wide. This would have been much better with a hydrogen 1, which I have, but I didn't have on me. But I thought I'd try it anyway. It's a nice scene. I think it's got good balance. I wouldn't try this on a TV. But it's acceptable to me on my Lume Pad. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this too extreme?
Fine on my TV. It looks good on my
I kind
TV.
of like the composition. I think it works for me. I'm just looking at it, side by side on my computer.
Okay.
Is this with your Sonys?
It is, yeah. And they were sort of natural vision, 65 millimeters or so spacing between lenses. The title is Watch the Bottle Cap.
Yeah, I like this a lot. It's a very nice composition.
Well, I'm glad I threw it in. I was on the fence about this one also.
Everybody's just very nicely placed. It's very sculptural.
And this one's really kind of a lucky shot because I was holding the cameras above my head. I couldn't really see what I was capturing until I got home.
I like you've got 3 different people's feet in the frame.
Yeah, I was just noticing that sandaled foot. That's nice. She's stepping out front. So who's the mark here?
And who's the plant?
Right. There's got to be a story that we can't see. And my final photo is a photo of a parade World Falun Dafa Day. And I like this one quite a bit. Falun Dafa is a Chinese political religious movement. They hold a lot of demonstrations in San Francisco, particularly, and I photographed them before. And I just thought this was an unusual scene. I shot them from front and behind, but the anonymity of shooting their back seemed to fit this photo. And I like the colors, the green and the yellow. And I even got Coit Tower in there too.
And this is not the Falun Gong? Falun Gong?
It is. It's
Oh,
the
okay.
same organization, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty heavily persecuted.
Their demonstrations, this is a parade, and their demonstrations involve a lot of movements like this and holding poses. And there's always someone there distributing literature also about the movement. But for a stereo photography subject, it's great because they don't really move. They're just sort of frozen in place usually, holding a pose. So, so long as you're polite about it, you can get some very interesting angles.
It's nice that you got them all arrayed in columns like that.
Yeah, they're very, very
Right.
organized, very, very meticulous in their demonstrations. And I'm just now seeing that there's a kid, there's a child in this parade too.
Hmm.
About somewhere around the middle ground.
Yeah, I see.
There she is. So that's cute. All right.
Nice.
Well, thank you, everyone. That concludes the slideshow, but we're not done yet. So don't go anywhere. What we'd like to do now, for those who can, this is optional, but we'd like to get our feedback on which photos are the most recognized. And this isn't a competition, of course, but we all want to know which photos drew the most interest. If you go to the link shown on the screen now, you can use your phone or tablet with that QR code also. This will send you to tonight's straw poll. Let me go there myself because I haven't voted yet. And you can select your top 3 photos from tonight's slideshow. I'm going to go through the slideshow again. I'll spend just a few moments on each one just so that we can refamiliarize ourselves with them. I'll say the title as well. Some of you may have already voted. You can vote during this slideshow or you can vote after. I'm going to go through them right now, and then we'll spend just a minute or two to let our participants make their selections. Does anyone need more time to pull up the poll before I go through the photos again? Sounds like we're ready to go. I'll show this link at the end of the slideshow as well. So tonight we had Cherries by Jay, Church by Jay, NYC Skyline by Jay. Bridge Palace Alignment by Melinda. Krell Luma by Melinda. Pure Joy by Melinda. Red Light at Night by Melinda. Car in Garage Split by Shadows by Oleg. Rear Entrance to Fruit Processing Plant by Oleg. Smoky Morning at Silver Lake by Oleg. Study in Blue at Defunct Movie Palace by Oleg. Barcelona Church by Steve. Cairo Carpet Factory by Steve. Hat Juggling by Steve. Parasol Spinning by Steve. Exploring Skull Cave by Matt. Ferry Building Farmers Market by Matt. Watch the Bottle Cap by Matt. And World Falun Dafa Day by Matt. Would anyone like to see any or all of those photos again? Sounds like we're good. Let's spend a minute or two making our selections, and we will see the results. All right, that's been a few minutes. Does anyone need more time? Looks like all the votes are in. Let me share the results. Now, unfortunately, I can't show those on our YouTube streams, so you'll just have to imagine. Or you can go to the straw poll website, follow this link, and click the results button at the bottom of the poll. Oleg, it looks like Car in Garage Split by Shadows was the clear first selection, followed by Melinda's Krell Luma. And we had a tie for third, we'll call it, between Jay's Cherries, Steve's Cairo Carpet Factory, and my Exploring Skull Cave. Thank you very much. All right. Well, that went remarkably smoothly tonight. I want to repeat myself for those who missed my announcement. When I sent out the meeting reminder yesterday, I thought it would be a good idea to combine our 2 monthly meetings for August into one. And that was before I realized how much great stuff we actually had tonight. And so I'm glad I didn't. Otherwise, we would have been very rushed. And we really wouldn't have gotten as much out of the slideshow as we would have. So we will be meeting again next week, whatever day that is, the 13th of Tuesday. The topic, it's a special, Through the Window. And I know some of you have submitted special stereo photos for next week. If you haven't, you still have plenty of time. Please get them uploaded by Sunday, the 11th. Is that what it is? I think so. Yeah, Sunday the 11th. And by the way, if there is a photo that you submitted that you realize you'd like to make a change to and resubmit, that's fine. I'll grab the latest one and be sure to use it. And reminders again also, and this information is in the chat, we have Jay announced that the Coney Island 3D photo contest has been extended until August 31st. So stereo photographers here who have photos of Coney Island, and I'm looking at you, Steve, please participate. We have a new meeting reminder email sign-up form on the website if you want to be reminded about our meetings. And the member handbook has been updated, and I encourage everyone to give it a glance. Before we call it a night, does anyone have anything they would like to announce or share?
Well, if you like pop-out effects and like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and like breaking the fourth wall, I recommend Deadpool and Wolverine. They throw a lot of stuff at the camera, especially opening credits. They actually smash the letters. They throw one character gets thrown at the other one and into the letters. So that's my kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's my kind of stuff too. It's definitely worth the 3D, it sounds like.
And it's still playing. I think it's actually in its third week in 3D, which is almost unheard of.
Yeah.
At least at the Hilltop. That's where I think.
Yeah, usually 3D movies, Tora, would you agree they might play for a week?
Let's see.
One week.
I mean, it depends. I mean, I think it's also still going in 3D at Jonestown, which is where I caught it. I don't know if the Grand Lake has it in 3D or not. Then I don't know if this was mentioned earlier in the meeting. You wrote me and Steve about the Balboa playing Creature from the Black Lagoon next week.
That's right.
I don't think they have twin projector capability. It'll probably be an anaglyph print, but it still should be fun.
I am expecting a painful presentation. And I'm looking for it right now. I'll put it in the chat. And of course, Creature from the Black Lagoon, 1953. It is a classic 3D movie, of course. And there is an excellent, readily available Blu-ray 3D of it. I've watched mine many times. It's probably the best way to see it. This will probably be the worst way to see it. But it is playing
except for the
nights.
crowd. The crowd should be great.
It'll be a good crowd. Yes. Now it does say they are emphasizing it's in 3D and it's on 35 millimeter.
Right.
So that does, suggest to me, Tor, that this is probably an anaglyph presentation. So we'll see. I'm gonna try it. It's playing 2 nights. The 14th and the 15th, I believe. Yeah, I think I just posted the screening of the 14th.
One thing, if anybody's interested in Tilt 5, it's on sale now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, 250 for one.
Let's see.
Yeah, what I've seen of that system is a lot of fun. Might
Yeah.
have to go for that.
What are you referring to?
Tilt 5.
is it's an AR gaming app. It uses front projection from your goggles and a retroreflective mat on the table, so it looks like things are sitting in 3D on the table from your point of view, and you can move around on them.
Okay,
Yeah, you could put physical objects on the reflector, and it's just automatically in there.
Yeah, you hold your hand or the controller in front of your face, and you don't see the graphics projected on it because they're not reflecting like the mat does. It's very efficient.
Yeah,
Sounds
the
cool.
2-player bundle is $389, down from $659, and it looks like it includes 2 viewers, 2 controllers, and the reflective mat with some other.
And it'll work over the internet, and it's got, Unity and Unreal to make your own. And I don't know if anybody's come up with a 3D photo viewer for it.
It looks like a really.
It would probably be
interesting
pretty low
system.
res. I don't know how useful that would be.
Yeah. Well, it's 720, so it's.
You know, it's part of it also is just the engineering challenge of getting it to display stereo photos. Doesn't have to be display them well, but if you can get a stereo photo app on it, then more power to you.
Yeah, I mean, I tried it out a couple of years ago at Silicon, and I loved the form factor.
Yeah, I actually, when she showed you at Maker Faire like 10 years ago, I took some 3D video with the W3 and put on YouTube.
Oh.
What, through the glasses?
Yeah, and
Oh, nice.
they're in 3D.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
They decided not to go with showing it in 3D because not many people had a 3D computer display, and the whole movement part you lost. So.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Jay. And yeah, Jay has put the link in the chat. It's
And-
tilt5.com.
And you're also my favorite Far Side cartoon,
Yes,
The Creature.
the creature. The
Just in the chat?
sequel
I'm not
to
looking.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, Revenge of the Creature, was it? That was also originally in 3D. Will we ever get
Yeah,
it?
the first 2 were in 3D.
Yeah.
The second one has much inferior 3D.
Oh, really? Yes.
They weren't able to shoot in the Bahamas and get the clear water, so there's a lot of particulate, and it's not terribly enjoyable.
Well, you can't go wrong with the original. So I'm sure we've probably all seen this, some of us, many, many times. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. I think that will conclude tonight's meeting. We'll do it all again next week. Submit your photos if you have more to share. And with that, I will say good night, and we will see you next time. Thank you all.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Yeah.